Fireworks in the sky, but the truth's still buried underground. Royal Oak, yeah. They told me, wave the flag while the chains still clank. Told me praise the names on the blood-soaked banks. Told me freedom was born in the room full of men who wrote liberty down while they own human skins. So fuck your founding fathers and the myths they made. I don't pledge to the lie, I don't kneel to the page. You can light up the sky, I remember the smoke from the fields, from the ships, from the necks in the rope. You call it independence, I call it selective. You call it patriotic, I call it protective. Of the story so fragile it cracks when questioned. Truth knocks once and they call it aggression. Yeah. Red for the blood they spill, white for the lies they told, blue for the bruises left on the bodies they sold. Don't ask me to celebrate what never included mine. I came with the receipts, I came to redraw the line. Fuck your founding fathers, I don't owe them praise. They built a nation on our backs, then told us smile through the pain. Fuck your founding fathers, let the fireworks cry. This ain't freedom for the people. If the truth still gotta hide, yeah. No justice, no peace, no lie gets crowned. We don't worship old ghosts when the roots scream loud. Fuck your founding fathers. On the 4th of July, I'm lighting up the truth while they light up the sky. They say, look how far we came. I say, look what it cost. Every courthouse got a shadow, every victory got lost. They gave statues to the takers, made heroes out of thieves. Put their faces on the money while the hungry couldn't breathe. Don't lecture me on freedom from a stolen land stage. Don't quote old documents with blood on the page. Don't tell me be grateful for a seat at the table when my people built the room and got treated unstable. You can't find me through the truth, you can dress it in stars, but the anthem still echoes like chains behind bars. I don't hate the people, I hate the disguise. I hate when the guilty get praised as the wise. Red for the blood they spill, white for the lies they told, blue for the bruises left on the bodies they sold. Don't ask me to celebrate what never included mine. I came with the receipts, I came to redraw the line. Fuck your founding fathers, I don't owe them praise. They built a nation on our backs, then told us smile through the pain. Fuck your founding fathers, let the fireworks cry. This ain't freedom for the people. If the truth still gotta hide, no justice, no peace, no lie gets crowned. We don't worship old ghosts when the roots scream loud. Fuck your founding fathers. On the 4th of July, I'm lighting up the truth while they light up the sky. Don't call it hate when the wound speaks back. Don't call it division when our name was fact. Don't call it progress while the system still bites. Don't call it freedom if we still gotta fight. I'm not here for comfort, I'm not here to pretend. I'm here for the children who deserve better than them. Better than myths, better than chains, better than flags used to cover up pain. So this one's for the ancestors who never got rest, for the names never written but who gave us their best, for the mothers who prayed, for the fathers who ran, for the babies born fighting in the stolen man's plan. This is not disrespect, this is correction. This is not rebellion, this is resurrection. You can keep your parade, I keep speaking the truth. I don't need permission to remember my roots. Royal oak in the soil, truth in the flame. If the crown came with silence, then I don't want the name. But if the crown means standing when the whole world falls, then I'm 10 toes down till the real story's told. Fuck your founding fathers, I don't owe them praise. They built a nation on our backs, then told us smile through the pain. Fuck your founding fathers, let the fireworks cry. This ain't freedom for the people. If the truth still gotta hide, no justice, no peace, no lie gets crowned. We don't worship old ghosts when the roots scream loud. Fuck your founding fathers. On the 4th of July, lighting up the truth while they light up the sky. Fireworks fade, but the truth don't die. Royal Oak, 4th of July. Not your midnight, not your lie, not your version of my life.
Right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your Daily Vitamins. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, can you all hear me okay? Can you all hear me okay? Hold on. Greta is in here being messy already. Said wig 2, constantly stealing Queen's talking points. In here now, no doubt. Okay. All right. Hello, Truth Brown. Mel is here, Buckhorse CC, Ron's Flat Power God is here. All right, let's get into a dark tube. Greta Lee, of course, being so messy. User ZT7 is in here. 27DD. Sean is here, daughter of Zion. All right, let's get it popping. Juju. Juju said, Queen with that foot on the gas and other on their neck. Okay. Alvin is here. All right. Ashgod is here. All right. Wavy though is in the virtual building. Betty Boop. Let's get into it. I see you, love Christy. Michael Estoy is here. Okay. Danny Joe. All right. Nessa G. Shout out to all my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. And a big shout out to my moderators because y'all know they be putting in work. Okay. And you all welcome Rupert from this morning. Rupert is back.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Rupert with all that bass in his voice.
Hey,
Okay.
I appreciate. I'm looking at the comments, Queen, and I appreciate. This is my first time getting to follow it like this, and I appreciate all the support from your chat and everybody that joins you. What a good follow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have the most nefarious chat on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, KQB, I see you, beloved. Okay, so we're going to get started in just a second. Let's have a brief word from our sponsor at 12 Tribes. And Truth Brown, I did get that new song. I love it. I'm going to play it tomorrow. I didn't have time to download it and everything today or to upload it. Okay, so with that all being said, everybody hit that like button, please. Like, share, subscribe. Okay, double check to make sure you're still subscribed, especially if you have not been getting your notifications. Okay, hey, bros. All right, so with that being said, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. Here we go.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find her products at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she also sells beard oil. Okay, so let's get ready to get into it. Hold on, let me see something. Hey, Jerron. Irma is here. All right, Diane. Okay, so listen, we're about to go over this report. Okay, because the Cajun Navy released a report today.
Mm.
And we're going to talk about it. And this is Nolan Wells' geospatial timeline and vessel analysis, vessel movement analysis. We're about to get into it. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go over this, and then me and Rupert are going to talk about some things.
Mm.
Okay, keep it moving my way. It's here in Delano. All right. So I'm going to share the screen. Hold on. Let me take this down. I don't want to have too many tabs open. Okay, here we go. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. All right, so let's get into it. Y'all get those likes up. You know that the likes keeps us in the algorithm, okay? And it helps to recommend the video. So everybody hit that like button. If y'all don't hit the like button, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna sit right here and stop and wait because I got time today. Okay, in case you missed it.
Hit there.
Now let's get into this because they've got pictures and stuff in here as well. We're gonna go over all of it and see what they're talking about. So this says it's a working analytical report. This report organizes the supplied photographs, videos, annotations, coordinates, and social media statements. It is not a law enforcement finding and does not determine criminal or civil responsibility. Okay, so this picture right here looks like it's definitely in Horn Island. It kind of looks like the picture that we saw this morning. You know, when I showed you all that video this morning, that's what it kind of looks like with all the boats. Now, when we look at, I'm sorry, go ahead, Ruben. Did you want to say something?
No, I'm looking at the boats myself. I'm looking at this picture here.
Okay. Now on the screen, it says Warren on Palm Beach. Okay, so that is Warren. Okay, so guys, you all saw this video the other day because I showed you all this. It was like someone was on a boat. Remember the person who was on the boat and they recorded it while they were there on the islands and they uploaded it to their Snapchat. That's how we found out that Tap Dancing Tatum was lying when he said there was little reception and you couldn't upload things. You could record but couldn't upload.
Yeah.
And she absolutely uploaded it. If you remember, I showed you and I said that looks like Warren. Okay, and it sounded like he said he broke his glasses or something. So that's that same picture from that video clip. Okay, it says Warren on Palm Beach. Then it has boat number 1, boat X, boat 2, and 3. So there's 4 boats. There's 4 boats out there. Okay. Now let's get into the investigative focus.
All right.
So the central questions are straightforward, but the available record is not yet complete. So at what time, which boats were present, which boats moved, what did they move, who was aboard them, who was aboard them, and what did the Triton, or when did the Triton begin taking on water? Now, what happened between Nolan's last independently corroborated sighting and the 1631 departure of the boat on which Nolan arrived at Horn Island?
Yeah.
So I guess these are the questions, right? The investigative focus is on all of these questions and points. Now it says analytical premise. There remains a material gap in the timeline. The most useful next step is not to force a conclusion, but to identify exactly which events are visually documented, which are reported by witnesses, which are only annotated by secondary sources, and which remain unknown. Okay, now the next thing is executive findings. Okay, the geospatial anchor. So the MDMR, their search datum shown in the supplied correspondence. Okay, I don't know what all these numbers. Oh, okay, these are the coordinates. Okay, that's what that is. Okay, I'm going to skip past that. It says these 2 depictions therefore appear to refer to essentially the same location, subject, or normal map or GPS precision. Okay, so they're showing the coordinates. Now, I guess that would be from, now, Rupert, do you think these would be from the boat that they were on, Wyatt's boat, or what about Bart's? Because I have those somewhere. Hold on.
And would they be given the coordinates when they were at the island? This is the because if all the boats were together at the island, the coordinates where they were at, and as we mentioned before, the coordinates that they had given were not far. They were not far from the island. So that's the main thing that doesn't make sense, is because the coordinates that they gave, you see on the west tip, the island, you can see still some land under the water. Then it's a drop off, the 17 feet into the 31 feet as you go further out into the water. But right where they gave the coordinates at on the boat, that's why the lady said, are you guys on Horn Island? Are you on land? Because the coordinates are very, very close to the land. And that's what didn't make sense to the lady. If you're taking on water on a boat, you would
Why are you in shallow water?
Yeah, and you wouldn't be in a panic, because if I'm taking on water in a boat, I would just simply go to the closest piece of land.
Exactly.
That's it.
Okay, exactly. The lies. But you know what? My friend Secret Service Sam said that. I'm going to pull up the video that I got from him, right? Where they talk about the water levels and how it doesn't make sense. Okay, let's go to that because I still have it queued.
Circulating video that is said to be Nolan and his friends. And what I'm noticing is like 4 boats lined up here, or I guess you could say 3, because the boat that is recording this actual video. And so you see where the guy is standing in the blue shorts on the boat. And then there's a black guy with an afro in the water. Pretty much equal with his behind. You could see the guy in the blue shorts and the guy kind of peeping up from the boat with the afro. That is said to be Nolan. So let's move it slowly. There are a lot of boats and a lot of people in the water. That looks to be Warren to me, right? The guy that's been doing the interviews. He's talking to a guy right there. I'm not sure who that is. Okay, so so that's pretty much the scene. And according to Brandon Tatum, he's saying that right at this spot, this is where they start taking in water.
So this is where the boat is at when they begin to become distressed. Right in this area. As you can see how close they are to the land. You can see where the coordinates were at. Right there. So when they're taking in water, when their boat is beginning to sink because it's anchored, it's happening right there.
Okay, my coordinates are 30 degrees by 14.684 north, and then west by 88 degrees by 46.79.
Right, looks like you're on Horn Island, correct? Are you on Horn Island?
Yes.
All right, is the boat sinking or you have it aground?
We were sinking, yes.
Is it aground is the question?
No, we're not aground. We are in 17 foot of water. We're in 31 foot of water.
So the coordinates that Wyatt gave to Vicky when the boat was sinking are in a shallow area of Horn Island. So it doesn't make sense. How is he sinking? He said his boat was in 17, then he said it was in 31 feet of water. But if you look at these coordinates, look at point 1 that I have here on this graph. This is shallow water. You can literally see the sandbar below. Now, point 2 is where the United Cajun Navy allegedly responded and was looking for Nolan. And then point 3 is where they allegedly approximately found Nolan. Now, we know he was more on the shore. But what doesn't make sense to me is why would they say they were sinking if the coordinates he gave weren't in an area that was sinking, right? Now, here's something else. Officer Ray Tatum is saying that the audio, you just hear what you want to hear. He's saying it's now been confirmed by TMZ that Nolan was still on the island when the boat left. But the reason everybody says, why would the kids say all this stuff? You know, Charles from TMZ says it, because if you listen closely, the minute Wyatt starts talking, everybody hushes up. Everything important was said before they realized that Wyatt is on that call.
There's a lot being said here, and I definitely can agree with some of it. But look at the water for yourself and the level that the water is at, judging by the people in the water. This is definitely not 17 to 31 feet of water. And you can also see that they could have pulled the boat to the shoreline if they were sinking. That's how close they were. If this is where they were, let me know what you think.
So this.
Okay,
Wow.
I think they absolutely were lying because here's the thing. Let's not forget, they said they left the island because they were taking on water, right?
Yes.
They said that's why they left. So if you left because you were taking on water and then at the same time you always sitting there calling for Nolan, according to them, to get on the boat, that means you were close to the shore.
Yeah.
That means you were close to the shore. You weren't far out. So how were you leaving because you're taking on water? That don't even make any sense. All the lies are all slowly becoming unraveled. Let me read this super chat. Nancy Meaton says, Nancy mentioned all that tonight. Oh, Nancy Grace. Okay, she mentioned all that tonight. She said she's on their head, but she was acting a little sus. I caught her looking off like being told what to say.
Yes.
See, I don't trust Nancy Grace. I already told you all that. That Nancy Grace is a Karen, okay? I can appreciate the good stuff she's done with this case as far as bringing it to shit, but I do not trust her, and I specifically don't like what you said about Carmelo. Okay, so thank you for that, beloved. I didn't even watch her show tonight because I've been working literally all day. So thank you for that, and thank you for your contribution. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, Big Op Skip Jones said, Queen, I'm here enjoying the show. Thank you, beloved. Okay, now let's get back into it because I know more lies are about to be exposed. These people are something else. Okay, so now the coordinates. So hold on, let me get this straight. So when he answered the phone, or when he was on the phone with the dispatcher, Vicky, and he told her, that's why he changed it, I think. Because he's like, oh, we're in 17, we're in 31 feet of water.
Yes.
But you were in neither, but your little lying self.
Yeah, and he wanted, and you notice that his the lie was to always when he noticed she the dispatch who was green to this situation, when she got
Yeah.
the coordinates down, and she said she didn't say, "Are you guys close?" She said, "Are you guys on horn?" She said, "Are you guys on
Right.
it?" And then he was like, he had to take it. What did I say? They had to take it further out into the water. And no matter what, in order to do what they had to do, they had to get away from
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 everybody
from
else.
the other boaters. That's all they
Yes.
simply had to do. And that's what they were trying
Uh-huh.
to do, was just separate themselves from the boaters, which people were taking off, starting to leave the island because they were going to party on the mainland. And the area and the West Tip Inn is not the most popular inn because that's the rougher waters. So
Exactly. I did
that's right.
research that. It's
That's
got the
not
riptides and all that
that's
stuff.
correct. That's not the popular end. So they made sure
Yes.
whatever and notice Tristan too. His that when they start running their mouth, they were telling on
Mm-hmm.
themselves and they thought they were. This is the reason why it's a big no-no to speak like this. But he said, I passed them up after getting into a fight. I passed Nolan up here to get on my uncle that called me onto the boat, wouldn't let me get off.
Right.
That's right. Meaning they were docked in a different area. People were among the popular areas of the island. But when they got into their call and all the information that's came out nationally, the lie was the 17 feet, no, 31. Yes, that means somebody said, no, you got to go deeper. 17 won't make sense. 31 make a little
Right.
bit more sense. But no matter what,
Mm-hmm.
the coordinates is still on the north, what they say, the northwest tip. It's still in
Right.
the same, it's still the same location. It's just when the water drops off, people know that if it's so crowded to where I have to I have to dock further off, we got to swim in some rough waters to get near the party on the island. And but if I go further out, people don't dock out there. I can get away from the fray, get away from the noise. But the one thing they couldn't do is the time of day. At that particular time, they could not dump the body right there. That is
Exactly.
because people are still leaving this
Allegedly.
island. Allegedly,
Allegedly.
they
If
could not
anyone
just.
was going to,
That's right.
right, if
They could
anyone
not dump.
was going to do something like that, that wouldn't be a good place for them to dump it because it would
That
have been
was
seen.
it. Would have that would not have been the place for their situation. And no matter what, if allegedly, if the words that you heard at the beginning of that call that cannot
Mm-hmm.
be denied, that was a real call.
Yes.
If that places Nolan on either of them boats out there, because if they did need a tow, as you see, they did say they needed a rope to dock to tie their boats together. So
Mm-hmm.
they had a rope to tie the boats together if they needed a tow, and it was a fresh boat, and if somebody could have towed their boat, one of the friends could have towed their boat, and if they were really in distress, they're not far away from the island, so they could have called anybody they knew on the island to help their boat
Right.
in distress because they did have a rope to tie boats together. They had roping. So all of that
Yeah.
makes sense. And that's why I honed in and my intuition knew it was like, no, they set up a perfect alibi. It is perfect. And and and,
Yeah.
and the people can
And
want to go back and watch your show, the other show. It's just a perfect situation. There was
yeah.
no the grandfathers and the elders there, they know these waters like the back of their hand. And
Mm-hmm.
CETO is it's a homegrown organization, which the elder who runs it, who owns it, knows all of the elders in the community.
Yeah, this
Mhm.
is all so crazy. Hold on, beloved. Now, Hipster says, what's crazy is if they were in distress, wouldn't Nolan be trying to help his sinking best friends? They never bring that part up. Well, beloved, they don't bring that part up because they don't put him on the boat.
That's
Their
right.
story is they left him on the island because he wasn't ready to go. So he's not supposed to be on the boat. Okay, I believe he was on the boat, but not breathing. That's what I
Yes.
believe. Okay,
Yes.
now that's all alleged. But
I
thank you, beloved, for your insight into the topic and your contribution. Now, also, let me just give a thanks to Irma Griffin, who just became a member. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, so let's get back into this
All
because the
right.
lies just keep coming out. So it says now the second mapped point. Okay, so a second supply coordinate And this is also from the northwest tip because the first one is north and the next one is west. Is approximately 279 meters from the MDMR origin vessel datum and the media supplied here does not establish what event that second point represents. So then they talk about the vessel cluster. The annotated stills consistently depict a cluster that the source labels boat 1, boat X, boat 2, and boat number 3, Palm Beach and Triton. Now the images support relative position comparison, but the labels themselves are user source annotations rather than independent vessel registration identifications. Okay, so I guess that means that's not how their boats are registered, or the owner of the boats, none of that's listed. They're just using this generic these numbers just to identify them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and notice that's key when it comes to tags, because in that call, you remember it's little tidbits that get brushed over. Wyatt immediately said, "Yes, the tags were ripped off. We don't have the tags. Like we don't."
Yeah, he did say
that. He was covering everything real quick.
He was thinking real quick. He's a good little liar. He was good at lying. Allegedly, Wyatt. Allegedly.
Right.
Okay. Hold on. Now, so yes, and here's the thing too. What let me know that they were up to no good is when the lady asked him, "How much water have you taken in?" And then he's like, he didn't say anything, and she's like, he said, "I don't know," and she said, "Like, is it at your ankles?"
Easy
and
question.
he couldn't even say that. Like, that's so simple. If water is in the boat, dude, is it at your ankles? Is it at your shin? Like, how high is it? And then it was so crazy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And notice, nobody in the opening background, which is on the call, nobody is complaining. And you hear people saying distress type things. Oh my God. Nobody is complaining about water coming up.
Right. Nobody said anything.
Nobody's in fear of drowning.
Let me ask you this, though. Here's what I think. Now, do you think, and this is all alleged pure speculation, but if you had to take a guess, would you think that if Nolan's body was on either of the boats, do you think it would have been on Wyatt's boat or Bart's?
It would have. I think if it was on any of the boats, I would just assuming I would try to place a body on a bigger boat. But if he was on a smaller boat, I can see why they would be distressed, because now they're thinking of moving this heavy body, onto the bigger boat, or how do we get this? That's why they were in distress. I can see that, but I would assume that the body that they would want it on the bigger boat. They would want it on the boats that they loaded with ice or anything like that, to put that on anything to preserve the body as they figure out what's going on.
I think that body was on. I think if there was a body on there, I would have placed it on Bart's boat.
On the bigger boat.
Yeah, because Bart had the bigger boat for one, and he was on there by himself. Everybody else was on the other boat, and when they said, "Bart, get it, plug it or unplug it or whatever," and Bart got on their boat, Bart was on his boat by himself.
Correct.
So I would think that it was on there. Another reason I would think it's on there is because Warren said in that interview with Tap Dancing Tatum that his friend, who I would say is Bart, was calling Nolan, "Get on the effing boat."
Yes, that's
now if their boat. And if they were leaving because their boat was allegedly sinking, why would you be telling somebody else to get on a sinking boat? That's going to make it sink even worse.
I heard a lot of people say that. Those are the things that it's like, I don't understand how they let the other stuff slide when that right there, everybody caught. It's like, if I'm Nolan and you're telling me, hurry up and get on this boat, and you see that it's obviously sinking, and you've seen the picture of how everybody was around these boats. If they were in that area, and you remember him saying, at one point, I saw Nolan up to almost neck feet of water, chest feet of water.
Right.
Yeah, that was the waters you seen everybody kicking it in. It was up to their chest, neck area, depending on your height to get out. That's the congregation you seen with the boats.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing that in 17 feet. Nobody's doing that in 31 feet.
That's
So
how we
if
know they're lying.
that's right. So if the boat was sinking in that area where you see them kicking it at, you
Why
have
didn't they just get out?
yeah, you have plenty of friends to help. You have all the
Yeah.
boats roped together and everything. So no, that did not make sense. And he did stumble in his wording when he was asked that. He tried
Yeah.
to give he actually gave a statement of what Bart was saying, and he put it in a polite way, and he changed it to a more negative way. He said, "Man, get the f on the boat." Like he
Right, he
changed it
did.
as if it was more urgent. You know,
Right.
he went from Bart saying something in leisure, and he
Right.
basically went from Bart saying, "Get on the boat,"
Hey,
as
get on the boat. Get on the
that's right,
boat.
as
And
if it
he
was
was
the
like,
picture that we
get
just
on
saw.
the effing boat.
That's right.
Exactly.
But then he changed it. He was like, no, he didn't say that. He said, "Get on the effing boat," as if it was urgent. And that's not the picture we saw. It was no urgency
Right.
there. That's
None
right.
whatsoever. He
That's right.
even at one point, Wyatt sounded drunk and annoyed. The part that always makes me laugh, I don't care how many times I hear it, is when that lady says something to him and he says, "Yeah, what?"
Yeah,
That was
I know. And
best.
look, when I remember, it's funny how I remember when you said that, and in our era, that I couldn't say that is a big thing. I try to explain that to the youngsters out in the world. Man, you couldn't
Yeah.
answer nobody with "yeah, what." That was so
Right.
disrespectful.
My grandmother used to say, "You don't answer a dog what."
What you don't that man? It was just what we was raised under. When I work with students, so when
Yeah.
I hear that, I deal with 18 to 22-year-olds, and when I hear somebody asking something impolite to them, and it's "yeah, what," I'm like, whoa, whoa. They don't even understand where I'm coming from. But I heard that
Right.
on the phone call is "yeah, what," but that goes back to what we mentioned, and that's why I'm glad you have this. I'm able to speak on your platform, and this is something that people can go back in card catalog and pull, you know. And
Exactly.
I'm glad because that "yeah, what," it shows "yeah, what." I'm not alert, but when she said, "Do you need that Coast Guard?"
Yeah. He was on point then all of a sudden.
He was alert.
No
But
matter how no matter how drunk he was alert at that point.
no,
Okay.
no. Yeah, he screamed out Nolan's nickname. No.
Yeah.
He got real. Yeah, he was alert. Yes.
Okay. Hold on. Let's go to this next part. Okay, so now it says the embedded time evidence. Okay, so two supplied screen recording videos display phone interface clock times of approximately 3:23 and 4:27. Now, the 4:27 recording shows boats and people in the anchorage. Because there are clocks visible inside captured social media content, they should be treated as timing indicators, not automatically as verified original camera timestamps.
Mhm.
So at 4:31, the departure hinge. The stated 4:31 departure time of the boat on which Nolan arrived in Horn Island sits only minutes after the 4:27 embedded clock visual. If the 4:27 time corresponds to the event itself, that media could be highly probative of the immediate pre-departure vessel configuration. Original file metadata or platform post metadata is needed to authenticate this
Mhm.
this inference. Okay, so they need the metadata so they can make sure this is authentic, right?
To make sure that what they're saying is that where they called in shallow water didn't
Uh-huh.
have didn't have it doesn't exactly have to be where they were. They could have been in deeper waters when they could have already been out in deeper waters by then.
Mm-hmm.
Everything doesn't
Right.
have to match up exactly on the timestamp of where they're placing the boat. They could always be a little delayed. So if
Now,
you're yeah,
no, go ahead, go ahead.
so when you're placing the call around that the picture we saw, thinking that they were in distress amongst all the other boaters and partiers,
Mm-hmm.
no, they could have got a timestamp that they were in that area. Then what they say pre-departure. So they mean, and it was a boat they said that did leave early. They said it was a boat that did leave early, but
Right.
not that 431 boat. Not that 431 boat that the basically the call is coming from. And that one
Okay.
they could have been already going out into the waters by then. They could have been because
Right.
no matter what, to do what they allegedly had to do, that was
Mm-hmm.
key. They had to go away from everybody. They had to just be away from them and going towards the
Mm-hmm.
mainland. And that's why you see there was stoppage in the deeper water somewhere, and then it was an acceleration of speed back to the mainland.
Right. Now, I want to ask you about that in a second, but hold on. Let me read this next part. Oh,
Hmm.
shoot. This next part talks about, hold on. Okay, the witness material, 431 witness material. It
Hmm.
says a supplied social media statement places an almost fighting group around 5 o'clock p.m. and says Bertram was a blue. I'm sorry, Bertram with a blue top left shortly thereafter, pretty fast. That's the one you're talking about left earlier.
It
Is
was
that the
one.
one?
It was one, and
Okay,
that was because Warren. It was one of them stated it in their interview. They said one of those boats got out of there a little bit earlier, so that's why he was trying. That's why he really messed up on his lives because that is the big one. They say a boat left in that 3 o'clock hour, so that's why he tried to place himself as, oh, I saw Nolan last at 3, but then,
three.
but then he messed up, just like the movie Menace to Society. You know, you messed up. He
You know
messed
that
up.
effed up, right?
That's right. When he's and
He messed
because
up when he said they left at
4:30.
4:31 and they were yelling for Nolan to get on,
That's right. And
right?
4:31 is a key time for him to say because that coordinates exactly with the call going in to the dispatch. So
Right.
3 o'clock and 4:30. Yeah, that's one thing. Those are two different times. But then for a boat of your friend group leaving at 3 o'clock, leaving the other possibly three other boats because there was a boat X, leaving the other possibly three boats around. How would you
Right.
know if you didn't leave on that 3 o'clock boat? And if you did see Nolan last at 3 o'clock, that meaning you would have probably left on the 3 o'clock boat. But
But you didn't.
you heard, you were right there near Bart saying, get on the boat in a polite way, then change it up to say it was an urgent way. Get the on the boat.
Yep.
You can't be in
Okay.
those two places at the same time.
That's right. And so, yeah, that was the boat that left early was the Bertram because it says, I'm going to read
Bert,
that part again. A supplied social media statement places an almost fighting group
yes.
around 5 p.m. That's when they were getting into the fight. And then says a Bertram with a blue top left shortly thereafter. Oh, no,
Mm,
this is not the one that left early. This
mm,
is the one that left after the fight, but it said they left thereafter pretty fast. Now,
pretty
a
fast.
reply disputes that the relevant person was Nolan and says a different young man was present. This conflict is important precisely because it prevents treating the 5 p.m. account as a confirmed sighting of Nolan. Okay, now I'm going to tell you something else. I'm going to finish reading this real quick, but
Mhm.
there's something else I had noticed too. When
Okay.
Warren was in that interview, he said that somebody had told him that they actually saw Nolan around 6 o'clock on the island, right? After they all left.
Yeah.
But that must not be true because I read an article from TMZ earlier this morning where it said that no one spotted Nolan after 4 o'clock. There's no one's come forward, no witnesses or anybody have come forward and said that they have publicly come forward and admitted seeing Nolan after 4:30. So if that's the case, why is Warren? See how their lives are getting crossed up
All.
because TMZ is on their side, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah.
So if
Yes.
TMZ saying 4:30 and Warren already told us that somebody told him it was 6 o'clock, and then just the other day there was reportings that two people supposedly saw him on the island after they left. So
Boy.
their lies, I think they're telling so many lies, they're getting confused.
Yeah. They and Queen. They would that hush money. They pay those two just to say that. But what if if the search if the search on the 5th
Mm-hmm.
had to end at around 4:30 because of weather and all these different conditions that happen out there, and knowing that it starts to get dark in the 6 o'clock hour going towards 7 out there,
Mm-hmm.
why would Nolan be shirtless, friendless, no way to get back, with 30 minutes to spare before it's pitch black dark out there on the island? Why
Right.
would
That
he
doesn't
do?
even make
Why would he
sense.
do that? Why would he even put himself in that position when he has plenty of friends to get him back to the mainland?
Right. Now, here's the
Why would he
question.
do that?
That's right. That doesn't make any sense. But let me read this real quick. Keep it moving my way. It says four HBCU and two Division One schools tell the football players to take 3 weeks off. What would he do to what would it do to the economy of Mississippi? Okay. Money equal testimony. Exactly. Well, we already know that some of these football players who play down here in the South need to absolutely boycott these people for just being nefarious.
Yeah,
Okay, that's what they need to do. That would make a big difference if they wouldn't like it at all. Okay, thank you, beloved, for your insight into the topic and your contribution. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, now let me go back to this document because, okay, now it says late observation. So another supplied social media image states that the commenter was parked next to the group and that Nolan was nowhere in sight when the commenter left at 7:30. Now, if you all remember, I reported this to you all days ago. Okay, someone sent that to me days ago. So there's a lady who said she was there when they arrived in the morning. She had parked right next to them. And
wow.
when she got ready to leave at 7:30, Nolan was nowhere around. Now, this is a reported observation, not independently verified, but by the supplied media.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's just like hearsay. Okay, now they say the core gap. The supplied package does not by itself establish a continuous, independently cooperated chain from Nolan's last known sighting through 4:31 p.m. The gap remains the critical analytical interval. Okay, now the 650 configuration point. The newly supplied 1650 photograph adds a post 1631 visual checkpoint. Frontier Bay, I'm sorry, boat number 2 is no longer in its earlier original position, consistent with the fight video still. If the time is authenticated, the movement occurred by 1650, although the exact movement time remains unknown. Okay, so they don't know when that one took off. Okay, so evidence classification and limitations. So to avoid overstating the evidence, this report uses the following hierarchy. Okay, so the category is direct visual observation, meaning a feature visible in the supplied photograph or video without relying on a label for identity. Examples in this report would include boat holes, flags, relative positions, crowd, shoreline, on-screen clock display. Okay, I'm going to skip past all this. I don't know if that's anything that we really need to be concerned with. Hold on. Now let's see what this is right here.
Mm-hmm.
This is the geospatial reconstruction from the MDMR origin vessel datum. Okay, so let me see here. Also, they're showing the coordinates again. Yeah, these are the ones I showed you all the other day.
Exactly.
And how they don't match.
No.
Let me see. Hold on, wait a minute. Yeah, they
So
don't
that
match because
one is
they don't
closer.
match.
One is closer to the water. One is closer
Right.
to the shore, and one is from further back. But you see
Yes.
that the shoreline underneath the water on the first picture is a closer pic. On the second picture is them coming back up so you can see the tip. Now the
Okay.
as you can see there, that's sand and that's land and that's shallow water. And as you see on the second picture, it shows a view that's higher up, and you can see that eventually it drops off into the deeper water. That's where the boats
Right.
don't. That's where they don't want to dock at, especially on the west end, because the water is rough and there's currents that move under there. So
Exactly.
so all they had to do was get off into the deeper waters on that side, and they would not be seen. And if you go back and you check the four hubs, let's see, the four hubs that they have going towards the mainland. The one that's going towards Louisiana is in Mississippi, but it's the Bay St. Louis hub. Then you have the Biloxi Small Craft Harbor hub. And then after that, you have the Point Cadet Marina hub. And the last one that they control is the Mary Walker Marina hub. These are all four hubs that cover that whole shoreline. So they have plenty of places to go. And all I need to do is connect with you guys whichever boat, right? That's what the grandfather was for. I need to connect with you guys in deeper water. And once that body was allegedly picked up, as I theorize, that's when you seen the boat started hauling off closer to one of the harbors. Now this is key, and I'm glad you brought this up to be said on this one because we didn't get to mention it on there. And like I said, I only want to go off things that they have already shown they have the technology for. They've already shown us nationally that one of the boating docks that they left off of that is close to the Seatow harbors, right there on the shoreline, they had video of Nolan come. They showed him in a full outfit when he had his pants on, he had his shirt on. They were loading onto the boats in the morning to go out to Horn Island. And Nolan he had a shirt, he had on pants. First of all, where is his pants and shirt? And if you found him on the boat, was his pants and shirt on the boat? Were they on the boat? But the thing that nobody is mentioning again is you had video of them leaving and loading their boat into the harbor. When they got back to those harbors at night, where's the video of them returning?
Right.
Those harbors have video of the boats docking. When those boats got back, where's you showed them leaving. You showed them you showed Nolan walking on the plank, loading into the boat. You showed them all. I seen the video.
Do you know where you saw that was on a TikTok?
No, that was.
I can find it real quick.
Yeah, they were there. They showed where they loaded the boat. They said, "Oh, that must be the boat, Wyatt's boat." And then they showed when they're leaving. Matter of fact, what's his name that did the interview with Warren Tatum? I believe the gentleman's name is. I don't know him that much. I don't watch him.
Yeah,
but
yeah, that's his thing.
Y'all showed them. Y'all made sure as ever. Look, we're leaving the boat and dock right there. You made sure to show them leaving. Well, if they have a camera of them leaving the dock, then that means they have the camera
of them
footage of them returning to the
exactly.
But they won't show that. Oh no, they're not. They
These
won't
people
show
are
you
something
that.
else. Okay.
Yeah. The boat and docks have cameras. It shows the boats. You know, the marinas have cameras. It's easy to see them pull up. You had them leaving out in the morning. Just show how they return back.
Yeah, they're not going to show that.
No, they
okay. Now they're definitely not going to show that. Now it says shoreline context. Okay, so the aerial images show the relationship between the north side anchorage shoal and the island tip. Without an image containing a scale bar, north arrow, and verified camera position, precise bearings should not be inferred from the photographs alone. Okay, let me scroll down. Now, what is this? Hold on just a second. Working timeline. Okay, so before 3:23 p.m., no continuous chronology established in supplied package. Evidence status unresolved. Okay, then they say a supplied vertical screen recording displays a phone clock of 3:23 while showing the crowded anchorage and nearby boats. Time indicator not authenticated. Original capture time. Okay, user identifies this as the start of the critical gap. Exact time and corroborating source are not contained in the supplied supplied media package. Okay, this is just a timeline. I don't think I want to read through all of this. I'll look at that later. Conflicting social media claim. Hold on, let's see what this is. Hold on, yeah, let's look at these social media claims. So it says a boat on which Nolan, this is 4:31, a boat on which Nolan arrived at Horn Island departed at 4:30 per the user supplied timeline. Now the supplied package does not include the underlying GPS engine AIS record proving time. Okay, asserted hinge, underlying record not supplied, premise, investigative premise. Okay, now it says, I'm sorry, user investigative premise. Now 5 o'clock, it says Matthew Lamp, I don't know who that is, states a passenger was pretty certain a person was part of a group that was almost fighting around 5 p.m. He says the Bertram with blue top left shortly afterward and fast, not believed to be a factor at this time. Okay, then they say secondhand social media claim. Okay, that's all that is, hearsay. And then at 5 o'clock p.m., conflicting. So Melissa Thomas disputes the identification, states a different young man was with her group, and says that they spoke to the boys, and one of them had an entire vodka bottle. Wonder who that was, Warren. Was that you? That likely wasn't him because it says this was at 5 o'clock.
At 5 o'clock.
That's what it says. It says 5 o'clock. This is what it says, 5 o'clock p.m. And then it says conflicting, as if it's two different or more than one thing being said.
Yeah.
Melissa Thomas disputes the identification, states a different young man. Hold on, let's go back. Who did they say the young man initially was? Matthew Lamp states a passenger was pretty certain a person was part of a group that was almost fighting around 5 p.m. He says the Bertram with blue top left shortly afterward and fast. That sounds like it could have been Trayson because he's the one that got into the fight or whatever
Exactly.
and wanted to leave because his uncle was leaving. So that sounds like it could have been him. I'm not sure. But
It
then
sounds-
this lady says,
It sounds
Go
like
ahead.
it could have been him, Queen, because if you notice, Trayson said he's covering himself out for the fight. He said 10 minutes prior to seeing Nolan, I had a fight 10 minutes, but he said I was on my uncle's boat, and he said he was with his old lady when they passed Nolan. He said something slick. He said I just gotten into a fight, saw him. He said I'm on my uncle's boat, and he said what? I kept wanting to get off the boat to continue the fight. But my uncle was keeping me back on the boat. He said I was mad and I really wanted to. He wanted to fight. Yeah. So whatever it was amongst the friends, and being out there, being an athlete myself back in the day in college, and being in that type of environment, when it's parties in rural areas where it's kind of lawless out there on the Horn Island. There's nothing to do. You can go out there, get into your fights and everything, and then whatever happens, come back to the mainland. But at 5 o'clock, whatever was lingering on from 3 to 5 with youngsters that's out there in that capacity on the island, yeah, I could see that it may, people may have been getting into stuff like that. That seems to be something that people are saying consistently,
Hold
but
on, I'm going to tell you. Go ahead. I'm going to
but
tell you
that
in a second. But go
doesn't
ahead.
that doesn't place Nolan in that action right there, because one thing that is consistent through all his so-called friends' account is that that just getting into random fights, that wasn't his demeanor.
Now I'm gonna tell you why Trayson got into that fight. Hold on. First off, he said somebody said something to him about the way he was talking to his girlfriend. Yeah. Now here's the thing, though. The video that I played this morning makes sense as to why he got into the fight, which I already figured this out. But this guy right here, he absolutely says it, and this is the fact of the matter right here. Okay, so I'm gonna take the document off the screen for a second, and then I'm gonna put this video, because this guy right here, if you all remember, those of you who tuned into the morning broadcast, and those of you who didn't, go back and watch it. Now, you don't have to watch the whole 3 hours, because I literally had the video broken up into clips. Okay, so you can watch the clips that are shorter. But here is why I believe someone said something to Trayson about talking to his girlfriend crazy, because that's what he said. Remember, she said something to him. He had dropped something of hers in the water, and she got ticked off because he said that on the interview with Rage Batum Tatum. So he got into an argument with somebody. That's why the whole fight started, because some guy was telling him, oh, you shouldn't be talking to her like that. Now, I said, because he's black, and you can't talk to a white woman like that as far as the guy was concerned. Now, listen to what this dude says.
Know them problems.
Now, this is allegedly, but I believe that Bart did it. I believe that Bart had some type of relationship with Katie. Katie was obviously with Nolan. Bart had a jealous rage seeing a young black male with a white female. We know in states like Mississippi, I see it all the time in my community, where white guys get jealous to see black guys with white girls. I've seen it a million times, and people who deny this are flat out lying. I believe what happened was that Bart put Nolan in a chokehold, and he didn't realize his own strength, and Nolan did not wake up. Hence the reason why we hear in the background of the CTO call, we hear, damn it, Bart, Nolan, wake the fuck up. Is he dead? All this is allegedly now. Well, if he just accidentally killed him, then why wouldn't they bring him to the police? Because Bart has so much to lose. He was the star football player on his way to the NFL.
Okay, I'm gonna stop right there because we heard all that this morning. I just wanted to hear the first part of what he said.
Mhm.
He said the white guys don't like to see the black guys with the white women, and they don't, specifically in Mississippi. Now, someone said this is a good point. Someone in the chat said, where'd that comment go? Wally the Truth said, it seems like they were fighting all the black guys that day. That is what it seems like. That is what it
Wait,
seems like. All those fights they were having, because they got into it with Trayson, right? And they were trying to calm him down, and we already know that was about his girlfriend, according to him. And then there was other people. There was plenty of fights that broke out. That's what they were saying. That there were so many fights that broke out that day. Now, with that being said, that's likely why Trayson was fighting. And so he would have been on that boat that left previously, like we said. Okay, so now let's pull that document back up. But what I want to ask you before we get back into the document, why do you think at some point their boat took off real quick, going like 40 miles an hour, right? And then they said, according to Warren, I think it was him that said they were driving it so fast so they can get the water out of it. But I don't think there's any water ever in it.
No.
So why would they have just taken off so fast like that?
What, from the island, or when their boat started to pick up speed after it was stopped in the ocean?
When the boat was stopped in the ocean, they were just trying to get the hell out of there, don't you think?
They were, and that's why we said on the last, whenever after that CTO call, whatever our ledge happened in that water to get that off the boat, that's when they got up out of there towards that island and everything.
Yeah.
And that's why GPS is so key. GPS, and it's not the boat that's in question, because they've already GPS that boat. But that is the boat that's protected under the alibi and everything. It's whatever boats that was alongside of them, close to them, that helped them. Nobody has the GPS for Cito at that time, because Cito supposedly never came. They supposedly never came. So it's no reason to even GPS it, which I think they should have. But also, there is 3 other boats in question. 2 for sure, because if there was a boat in their friend group that left early, that leaves the boat that's in the Cito dispatch and 2 others. And nobody has GPS. Nobody has GPS them. Every event that has happened, and timing is key when it comes to crime. Every event that has happened in time frame of the dispatch call, every boat that was supposed to be nearby them in time of this dispatch call, none of those have been GPS or questioned.
Exactly.
Everything that happened
And
around that time, nothing has been
say
GPS or questioned in there.
Yeah, they all should have been. Okay, but now listen to this part where they said at 5 p.m., Melissa Thomas disputes the identification, states a different young man was with her group, and says they spoke to the boys, and one of whom had an entire vodka bottle. So she's snitching. And then it says conflicting social media claim. Okay, so now let's get down to 6 o'clock.
Yes.
MDMR, their correspondence later uses the 1800 Central Standard Time, right? Which would be 6 o'clock, okay, with the origin vessel GPS datum of SAR sonar planning. Now, this should not be interpreted automatically as a sighting time. Documented search planning time. Okay, now 7:30, Caitlin Brochard states, I reported on something. She had some sort of receipt that I used. Okay, Caitlin Brochard states they were parked next to the group. Okay, yeah, that's the lady that said they were parked next to them. Okay, they were parked next to the group, and he was nowhere in sight when they left at 7:30. Now, they say that's a social media claim. And then 4:50 p.m., okay, new supplied shoreline photograph shows the crowded Anchorage Frontier Bay, and boat number 2 is no longer in its earlier or original position, matching the positional change seen in the later fight video still. Okay, there was a still picture of the fight video. Now that says user supplied capture time direct visual configuration. So someone gave them a picture of that, I guess. So the critical interval. The period requiring most scrutiny is the interval between the last independently corroborated sighting of Nolan and the asserted 4:31 p.m. Triton departure. Now, the 323 and 427 visual material may bracket or illuminate part of that interval, but only if the displayed clock times can be authenticated as corresponding to the original event recordings. The supplied media does not close the gap. Okay, now we're talking about boat 1. So shown by annotation, one still explicitly labels boat 1 as POV. Okay, source comparison says boat X is missing in later view. No GPS track supplied for boat 1. But like you said, all of these boats should have been tracked.
Oh, because they've already shown they have the technology. The boat that the boat that was the alibi boat. You noticed that on national news a week ago, they tracked everything for everybody to see. They showed the linings in the ocean of everything the boat did from the morning of July 4th all the way till the night that was close to almost midnight. They showed that. You had all the speculations that, oh, somebody saw somebody washing off the boat and these different things and cleaning different. Yes, these are the things that make sense in coordination with the call. Because notice the things that they avoided, that they were alone. He said no to Coast Guard in a crucial time. Bingo, that's key. What if Coast Guard would have came by, or anything that would have came up regarding a body, and if they did not, you guys, if they did not place that body on the 6th and do it in that timely fashion, eventually what would have happened that once again, you breaking all these different things out, something clearly would have happened that they were trying to avoid. Eventually, the Gulf Coast search and rescue teams would have brought out cadaver dogs.
Right.
And cadaver dogs will find the remains of they if you move the body from off a boat, it will sniff that out. It can find a body 15 feet under dirt. It can sniff it out. So just imagine if any cadaver dogs would have been brought to any of the boats. That's what they were trying to avoid. And you know that they didn't want any cadaver dogs coming into any CETO hub because it would have been a bingo.
Yeah, it would have been a wrap.
That's why they did it in a timely fashion. They knew, and you gotta, the thing that you always do is you gotta have a certain respect for an enemy or a rival or an adversary. You gotta have a respect for it to wait, because they knew, and they were brave because they knew we have one shot. We have from when this search ends on the 5th till the morning of the 6th. We gotta do this, and they did it.
This is absolutely nefarious to me. Like, I can't even fathom even trying to do anything like this. I'm like, this is all crazy. Can you imagine being out there in the midst of the water with a dead body allegedly on your boat, and then you're trying to figure it all out what to do with it? Like, this is all like a movie that I don't want to watch.
That's right. Just imagine, Queen. Just imagine them having an actual having that black person's dead body on their boat. And
That's
then,
what I'm talking about,
and then having to explain that to the parents. They wouldn't have stood a chance. The history alone would have placed it like, oh my goodness, y'all did it. So they had to figure out a way to not have that body on their persons and to have it to be a drowning. But as I stated, the perfect way to do it, I stated it on your platform. That is the perfect way to do it.
And y'all gonna have to go back and watch the video to find out. Now, look at this. Okay, so now we have the picture from earlier, right? Where they got Warren on Palm Beach, boat 1, boat X, boat 2, boat 3. But then when you look at this one, this is a fight video. Okay, so this is where they were fighting at over here, I guess. Then it says boat X is missing. So you have, okay, this was boat X over here. Now that boat is suddenly gone. So now we have boat 2 and boat 3 and boat 1 right here, the POV.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on, let me read that. The footnote. it says, what this supports, the vessel arrangement changed between the two depicted configurations if the source labels are accurate. Now, what it does not yet support, the exact time Boat X moved its destination, the exact time that it moved, its destination, its occupants, or whether its movement is related to Nolan's disappearance. Somebody's movements are related to Nolan's disappearance.
Definitely. Definitely.
Now look at here. Right. Now look at this. This is boat 1, the POV. There's 2 and there's 3. Okay, now this is on board the Triton. I wonder what this dude's name is, because he's not anybody that I've seen be interviewed or anything. I don't remember his name. I know I had a picture of him.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember his name off the top. Okay, so now with that all being said, the newly supplied photograph is presented as having been taken at 1650 Central Standard Time. Okay, so on the 4th, July the 4th, 19 minutes after the user supplied the 1631 departure of the boat, which would be 4:31, and this was at 4:50. Okay, departure of the boat on which Nolan arrived at Horn Island. Now, key visual observation. So Frontier Bay, boat number 2, is no longer in the earlier original position shown in Figure 5A. This is consistent with the later fight video still, where the vessel configuration has likewise changed. Now, if the 1640 capture time, which is 4:50, is authenticated, the photograph establishes an upper bound time. Frontier Bay had moved from its earlier position by 1650 and or 4:50. It does not establish the exact minute of movement, destination, occupants, or any connection between that movement and Nolan's disappearance. Nolan possibly is in this photo, but not confirmed. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so here's the photo. Okay, now these are all clearly stills from someone's cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
Paige Leonard and Anna C. Moore. Okay, they obviously capture these on their phone because you can tell. Okay, then it says caution on clock interpretation. The displayed times are visible in screen recorded social media content. They may be the phone's current time with the screen recording when the screen recording was made rather than the original event recording time. Authentication requires the underlying original post file platform metadata or testimony from the original recorder. Okay, I'm not going to keep reading this. I'm just going to scan through these pictures, and then we're going to get off of this and on to the next. Now, here is some messages. Okay, what they do not do and do not establish. Okay, Matthew Lamb says, one of my passengers is pretty certain he was part of the group that was almost fighting around 5 p.m. The Bertram with the blue top that I posted left shortly after that and pretty fast. And then someone else says, Melissa Thomas says, Matthew Lamp, sir, you are sadly mistaken. We are the group you yelled at us. No, we are the group you yelled at as you pulled up thinking we were going to hit you, and we weren't. And we were paying attention. Totally different kid was with us. I was with the Bertram boat, and we had no affiliation with him. We hate to hear that this happened, but do not smear people if you did not actually see something happen. Okay, do not smear people if you didn't actually see something happen. Now, this causes more issues for the people in charge trying to find this baby, and it creates stories that are false. We did speak to the boys, and at that moment, he did have an entire vodka bottle in his hand. Now, you need to revamp your statement and not put blame toward anyone. We don't even know what happened, but I will tell you, you are mistaken. Give the cops my name. I will let them know who we really are or who we really had on the boats.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so apparently he was trying to say that the person may have been on their boat. One of my pastors is pretty certain that he was part of the group that was almost fighting. Okay, well, one of his passengers. Okay, they're saying no, that's not the case. Okay, so in the two statements conflict on the identity of the person associated with the group. Lamp's wording is itself second-handed. One of my pastors is pretty certain. So that's hearsay. While Thomas explicitly says Lamp is mistaken, therefore the material cannot reasonably be presented as confirmed. Okay, as a 5 sighting of Nolan. So far, they have no confirmations of anyone having actually seen Nolan after his friend supposedly left. Okay, and that's
Exactly.
important to note. That's important to note because Wyatt or Warren on the interview tried to say that people told him this and people told him that. And then TMZ is wishy-washy because they said on that report that nobody publicly came forward and said they saw him after 4:30. And then I think they said something else about people seeing him after the fact. I think they repeated that story about two people at least. Yeah, they're the ones who reported, if I'm not mistaken, that two people at least supposedly saw him. They was reported that days ago. But today the article said no one
That's
saw
right.
him, reported seeing him after 4:30. See how the stories keep
Hey,
changing?
Queen.
And that's because of the lies.
They would love for two people out of hundreds of people. They would love for two people to have seen him after 4:30. They would
Yeah.
pay for two people to have seen him after 4:30. They would. But everything in this that brings your intuition to know that that's not the case. That's
Mhm.
not the case. At least if Warren truly believed that two people saw Warren at 6 o'clock after they left the island, first and foremost, if you already left Warren by 4:30, who told you that two people saw him at
Exactly.
6? That's number one. Who told you? Who did you call? Because you didn't even know Warren was missing yet.
Right.
So who told you? Who would? If you didn't even know Warren was missing until close to midnight, who would even have to tell you that we saw Warren at 6? And then why would you say, "Oh, Warren is on the morning of the 5th. Oh, Warren's probably on somebody's couch and everything." Why would you even assume that?
Exactly.
You know,
It's the lies for me.
that's right. It's things that they've already said that don't make sense. They're just like when he said, "Oh, I took a picture of somebody saying that Katie said this or that." Why would you have to take a picture of a message?
That's what I said. Now you're trying to establish an alibi. You're trying to bring receipts. But why would you be trying to bring receipts and nothing happened?
Yeah,
Like, make it all make sense.
yeah, you don't need proof of something if you genuinely and organically think nothing is wrong.
Exactly.
That's
So
right.
here's what I want to do because Nancy Grace had the lady Janetta Brantley on her show, the one who did the audio, right? So I want to go to that next and see what she was saying on there. But before we do, here's an article that came out. Now listen to this. It says 3 of Nolan Wells's friends. I cringe every time they call them friends. Okay, they launched a legal fund insisting they've been wrongly blamed amid death investigation. Okay, so let's talk about it because they say speculation about the case has run rampant online in Mississippi, and Wells's family and some of his friends may soon file dueling lawsuits. Well, let's get into it. Y'all got to do what y'all got to do because we're going to keep talking. Okay, so several friends who were with Nolan Wells before he vanished from a large 4th of July party in Mississippi have reportedly joined a fundraiser to help them defend against potential lawsuits as well as pursue claims of slander and libel amid intense online scrutiny and speculation about the case. Now, the fundraiser on Gifts and Go has raised more than $90,000 on behalf of Warren Hudson, Jax Patalo, and Morgan Seymour. So all 3 were with Wells, an 18-year-old college student and athlete, on July the 4th. At some point that afternoon, Wells seems to have vanished in plain sight during the large gathering on her. Hold on. I want y'all to listen to this. Yeah, that's right. Kela Kalun. I can't say your name. I'm just going to call you Kel, beloved, okay? But you're absolutely right. Now, this is all crazy. Now, listen to this. They're talking about he vanished in plain sight. Y'all hear this? Nah, he didn't vanish in plain sight. But here's the thing. Now, if, in fact, he was on that boat, right? If he was on that boat not breathing,
Mm-hmm.
where do you think that something happened to him? Do you think that something was done to him on the boat? Now, clearly, okay, something was done to him. But I'm just still curious because I'm thinking about if he was on the boat. Do you think something happened, like a fight ensued? I mean, we're of course speculating, but what do you think would bring it to this? Do you think it was a fight that ensued or something like that? Like,
Well,
what do you think potentially could have happened?
that is and that is something that I wanted to speak about, but I would it would have had to come from a question so that I can kind of just let my mind and go. Yeah, you have anything that happened on that boat, whether the fight ensued on the boat, on one of those boats with one of those guys, but something
Hmm.
that stands out is they do fight on this island, and they know that this island is unregulated. These youngsters know if it's a place to get into a fight. Horn Island is probably the face where we could do these little confrontations right here. Now they're
Hmm.
drinking out there. They have all the other things that are illegal out there for these youngsters that are under the age of 21, and some of them over, and adults that are out there. But they have a little lawless territory where they could get into their mischief and their scuffles, or if they choose to party. Now, on this boat, no matter what, we can't deny what we heard in the beginning of that call. We can't deny that. There's somebody saying, "Oh my God, you hear Nolan's name? Check his chest. Is he dead? He's dead." So it was a body on that boat that was injured in some type of capacity. It was a body on that boat that was injured in some type of capacity. There also was
Allegedly, allegedly.
allegedly, and I always thank you for allegedly, but you know the conviction that I'm saying it with. And that damn it, Bart, wasn't no average damn it, Bart.
Right.
Okay? That was like, damn it, Bart. Like what so
Exactly.
whatever happened, whether Nolan was swimming out to the boat to get on and something happened. Only thing is, because there is no witness out of we've seen a picture of how this scene was. That was just an
Hmm.
area of their scene. And if any confrontation happened, somebody saw it if it was happened in that area. So
Yeah.
something happened as they were trading out away from the crowd into deeper waters, most likely. And
Hmm.
whether you hit this man and he hit his head on one of those boat bars, whether you choke this man in some kind of way, or any whatever happened, whatever happened, somebody will tell once they see they're in trouble. Once they figure out how that body got off the boat and never found until July 6th,
Hmm.
you guarantee somebody's going to come. That's why I say, and I say it over and over again, I say the two young ladies' voices who were on there, you can tell they were in distress. They did not want to be in this situation.
Yeah,
They
exactly. And
they
who
they
would?
knew, yeah, they were like, man, this is not my summer plans to be in a possible know what you did last summer situation.
You know what?
Feel me?
Exactly. That's what
It,
it
it
reminded me of.
is
I
this
actually did a
movie.
cover. Yeah, it's all crazy. I would have told as soon as we got back to that, listen, whatever little lying scheme they were going with, I would have pretended to go along just so they would throw me in the water
Yeah,
or do something to me. But as soon as we got back to dry land, I'm snitching.
I would
I'm
have,
going down for nobody. I'm
but
not going down for nobody. Okay, please pay attention. At the end of the day, I'm definitely telling.
that's why
All right.
it was some strong entities and some elders that have these youngsters on hush, because the
Right.
only thing that can invoke them with fear to hush is elders and the clout that they have with the community, the law in that community.
Mm-hmm.
That'll get the
Right. And
youngsters to be quiet.
that's right. And whoever did it, if anyone did allegedly, then they probably told the rest of them, we're all gonna go down. If we get caught, we're all going down.
Oh,
Because that's how you get.
you can kind of see that's Bart's behavior. Bart
Yeah,
right now is
I
showing
believe
off.
it.
He was not. You remember all of the ones that names were out, lawyered up, before the case even broke national. They
That's right.
lawyered up. Bart just lawyered up. My name
Yeah.
just got popping. I wish y'all would say something. I let this whole thing go.
And that's because his name wasn't mentioned for a while
That's right.
until Warren went on that podcast, and then that audio came out, and we heard him say, "Damn it, Bart." That's
Yeah.
the first time we heard him when the audio came out, because
Yeah.
everybody's like, "Who's Bart?"
The
And then when
a true life organic mistake. They even had
Yeah.
music to try to cover up the organic mistake. But that was
Yep.
the only thing that could mess this up. And that's
Yep.
why that's the way it works. That's the way the world works. That's the way it works. It's
Hold on.
always the
Now,
organic mistake.
right. Now, hold on. Okay, so now we're going to go to Nancy Grace. They say authorities initially said they saw no signs of foul play and pointed to potential drowning in an area known for rip currents, but
Yeah.
they have since stopped commenting publicly. Now, the unusual case stoked intense discussion locally and on social media, where numerous theories have run rampant. Haven't they, though? Since the start, Wells's parents, Christine and Elmer Wansley, said they want a thorough and transparent investigation, pushing back on the belief that he drowned. And I'm glad they are, because he didn't drown. As far as I'm concerned, I don't believe it. The only question we have, this is what his mom said, is what happened to our son. Okay, now with that being said, let's go to this Nancy Grace video, because I want to see this. Hold on. Yeah, because I saw a little while ago, she had that lady on there, Janetta Brantley. Let me see here. Okay, so here's her channel. So like and share. Thank you in advance. Is this it from 2 hours ago? I think this must be it right here. Yeah, this has to be. Okay, here we go. Hold on. Let me share my screen. Let's go here and see what Nancy's talking about. Mel said Bart cannot get that NFL contract. We got to stay on his neck.
Stay on his neck.
Okay. You know what a couple of people have said? The first person I heard say this was my friend The Lounge, who's in the chat. The Lounge said because a certain person plays football and they're a kicker, and you know that bruising that was on the back of on the back under the occipital bone, when they showed the second autopsy, preliminary autopsy report that
Yes.
Ben Crump had done, right? So the bruising, or not bruising, but the discoloration on the
Yes.
back of the head near the occipital bone. So my friend, I heard The Lounge say this first, and then I heard somebody on TikTok say it. They said they were wondering, here it is right here. Let me put the picture up. Okay, so that's not the one with the bruising though. Hold on.
Yeah, that was
Okay,
in the
this
back of the
area,
neck.
yeah, right there. Okay, here's the occipital bone. This area right here, it was a reddish discoloration, right?
Yep.
So she was wondering if perhaps somebody kicked him in the back of the head, and somebody else said the same thing, because you know one of those people on those boats is a kicker.
Yes.
With a very strong leg, because I did research on them, very strong leg. So I just have several questions, because that could have been plausible. But I just want to know why this happened, and I hope we get answers. Now, we're not accusing anybody. We're just, all this is speculation and merely our opinions. Okay, we're not police officers. We're not detectives. We're not investigating this case legally. We're just social media investigators trying to gather information.
Mhm.
Okay. So let's get into it and see what Nancy is talking about here.
Investigation of the death of a young man, Nolan Wells. Death threats are flying. What?
Hold on. Do y'all hear how dramatic Nancy Grace talks? I think it's very effectful, because it draws you in. I should start talking like that. Today at the Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show, you won't believe what happened on Horn Island. A young man goes missing and nobody has answers. Okay, I'm going to have to start being more dramatic.
Nancy something.
Let's get into it.
Actually says there's going to be blood, so much blood. Another death threat says, don't go outside. How can anybody do their jobs when they're getting death threats? Not only that, we understand this case is headed to a grand jury. We also learned tonight that the state's autopsy is complete, but is being kept secret. Isn't an autopsy a public document? Why is it being kept hidden from us, the public? What is in that autopsy, the first autopsy of Nolan Wells? Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us. And get to the death threats of blood, so much blood everywhere, and don't step outside and more before I can even get to the grand jury, before I can get to the autopsy that's being kept hidden from us. I want you to meet someone very important, critical to this investigation. Her name, Janetta Brantley. Miss Brantley is the audio engineer who enhanced the 911 call, the CETO call, in the Nolan Wells case. So everybody claiming some ding-dong on YouTube did it, or somebody on Insta or TikTok did it, no. She did it. I've spoken to her. I've read her statement. I want you to judge her credibility. Credibility is normally the sole province of a jury, and tonight you serve in that function. Miss Brantley, I'm sure that you're getting all sorts of abuse, threats, and so forth. It's a cacophony that seemingly won't cease. That said, thank you for being with us tonight. Explain to me where you got the audio, how you got the audio, and what, if anything, you did to enhance the audio.
First and foremost, I basically downloaded it off of YouTube from WLOX News's YouTube site. And when I downloaded it, I ripped it off of YouTube. That's the terminology that we use when we take something off of YouTube. But when I ripped it off of YouTube and I pulled it in.
Pause, please. Objection. Miss Brantley, isn't it true that the audio you got was taken directly by XLO from MDMR, correct? The Mississippi Department of Marine Resources. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Okay, please continue, Miss Brantley.
So when I downloaded it from YouTube, I pulled it into my DAW, which is Logic Pro X. That's my DAW of choice. And when I first listened to it, I realized that it was like a dual mono recording, which most, most phone services or operators utilize when they're recording conversations. And so it was already split between the caller, the dispatch, and the callers in the background. And so that's what made it easy for me to isolate it without having to do much to it. So that isolation, when I separated the left channel from the right channel, that just made me be able to really focus on everything that was on the call end. And what I was hearing was I honestly could not believe what I was hearing.
Miss Janetta Brantley, isn't it true this is the same audio that was released by the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources?
Yes, that is absolutely correct.
Let's listen to it one more time.
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can you all please come? We have a membership. Shut up! Shut the f*** up! What'd you say? It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. We're going down now. I don't know the phone number. It's either. I think it's. Try that. Everybody was on this phone. I know we have a membership, guaranteed. I don't have the tag on here. It got ripped off. What? No, we do not need that. Let me go look.
I run a podcast solo. No.
He sounded so annoyed and bored. Let me go look, like he had all the time in the world.
No distress. No distress of drowning.
None whatsoever. No sense of urgency. Now, the drone said, so glad she, before anyone, had this beautiful sister on her channel, giving her national credibility. Thanks, Nancy. Listen, yeah, shout out to Nancy for having her on the show, but she's not the first one, beloved. Willie D had her on his channel first because Willie D specifically asked her if she had been invited to Nancy Grace's show. Okay, so Willie D was the first one who had her on there that I saw.
That's right.
Okay, let's continue because this is about to get juicy.
Hey, jump in and pull the plug while you're going.
Oh, they got it here. They got it here.
Hello.
They got it here.
Okay, what's going on? What's up?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our Doge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Hello! Let's go! Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our Doge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Hello! Let's go! David Hart? David Hart? David Hart?
Back to Janetta Brantley joining us tonight, and she shows herself in that video showing what she is doing. What does adding EQ mean, Ms. Brantley?
Adding EQ is basically selecting a certain frequency of the actual sound and either deleting or removing a certain noise, something that's problematic to the ear, deleting that or boosting that. That's literally all EQing is.
What was your process, Janetta? Because I was sitting researching. It was early in the morning, like 5:45 a.m. several days ago, and I was researching the Nolan Wells case, and I saw the transcript as it was being played. And my husband was also up. He said, "What's wrong?" I'm like, if this is real, this changes everything. It changes everything. Because up until that point, it seemed as if Nolan's death could very well have been an accident. If this is real, it changes everything. It's seismic. What was your reaction when you heard these words, Janetta Brantley?
I think at my core, I was in disbelief. I wasn't cleaning it or enhancing it to specifically look for or identify a crime or even point the fingers at anybody. I believe I wanted it to be an accident. I think a lot of us wanted it to be an accident. So when I heard those things, when I heard, damn it, Bart, that name stood out to me because I hadn't even heard that name before. As I was listening to certain things that stood out to me, I was in disbelief because, again, I'm just an audio engineer. I'm not an investigator, a detective, or anything like that. So when I heard a name that I wasn't familiar with, it stood out to me. And that alone made me want to hear what was immediately said after "Damn it, Bart." And so that's why in that process where "Damn it, Bart" came in loud and clear to me, I decided to go over to the next part to hear what the rest of that statement was, which is where you saw me actually create a loop over that part, split that part, and then add a gain, which the gain is boosting the volume overall. And that's pretty much what you saw me do in that actual video. And so to hear, damn it, Bart, Nolan's really dead now, that I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it.
My reaction too, Janetta, because when I first heard it, I thought this has got to be doctored. This can't be real. Don't move. Straight out to veteran trial lawyer Franz Borghardt, a veteran trial lawyer joining us out of the Baton Rouge jurisdiction at Borghardt's law firm. Franz, take off your defense hat just one moment. I have introduced wiretaps many times at trials, which are very hard to get, by the way. And I've never had one that I believed was doctored at the time because they were taken by law enforcement. This is from a completely independent source with no dog in the fight, no skin in the game. It's from dispatch at CETO. And if this is real, this blows the case wide up. Now, you saw Janetta Brantley. You've heard her. I have no reason to disbelieve anything she's saying.
So if I'm prosecuting this, I'm worried that I need a witness in 2026 to exclude the possibility that it's either AI generated or doctored, just like you suggested. And I think that she's very credible, but I think we need to go one step further. The other concern I have, Nancy, is if the independent autopsy is showing inconclusive death results, now I really want to see the other autopsy to see, is there trauma to the body? Is there something that happened? These are the concerns I would have as a prosecutor. But we've now opened the doors to these guys may in fact have committed obstruction of justice.
Hold on. You're putting the cart before the horse. Before we talk about obstructions, such as allegedly lying or covering something up.
Here's how I got rid of bed bugs for less than $50.
Exactly, Queen.
No, I always thought her.
You've already mentioned two distinct lines of inquiry. One is that the audio that Janetta Brantley enhanced innocently, I believe, had been already AI or doctored. Okay, let's follow that through to its logical conclusion. You just throw that out there like a stink bomb at the circle. You know what a circle meeting is, right? In the United Methodist Church, all the ladies have circle meetings. Okay. To suggest this was doctored before Janetta got it means it had to have been doctored or AI created by who? The Mississippi Department of Marine Resources. No, don't just go, that doesn't work in court, Borghardt's. You can't just throw, that's like the side defense. Some other dude did it. What dude? What are you talking about? So you're saying AI doctored by who? If it's not Janetta, then who? She got it. The same sound that was released by the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources. What? You think they doctored it?
There is nothing normal about this case. And if
that's not what I asked you. I'm asking you to explain your premise, and you're not doing it.
I said if I were a prosecutor, I would want to be able to establish with expert testimony that what we are listening to is real. And I would want a witness, because I'm telling you, with this case, with as viral as it's been, I'm not disagreeing that it's real. I'm saying I would want to be able to bolster that very credible woman's testimony, and she is very credible. I have no doubt that what we're listening to and what she did is credible.
Yeah.
Let me say this. I absolutely agree with him. Because one thing about it is it sounds real. It looks real. The lady is credible. But when you're in court and you're trying to prosecute someone and you want to make sure you put the nail in their coffin, you're going to have all of the facts and all your bases covered. So I would want a witness too. It would be better if you had a witness, but even if you don't, people have gone to prison over circumstantial evidence.
Correct.
But I would definitely want a forensic video analyst, audio analyst, so they can verify that it is what I'm saying it is. There's nothing wrong with that.
I
There's
agree,
nothing wrong
Queen.
with that because that's how you cover your bases. Because if you don't, and then the defense argues that it's doctored, it's AI, and you can't prove that it isn't, that gives the jury reasonable or that gives them reasonable doubt. Exactly. That gives them
Exactly.
reasonable doubt.
But
So he's right.
that is why, and I totally agree with you, and I don't want anybody who's listening on this that's listening out there right now, don't think that our agreement with what the prosecutor is saying is something that's to where you're taking a side that's regressing. No, I'm pushing the issue of what my intuition says. But listen to what he says that's working in the court of law. And that is why I stated, I thanked you so much. I said, thank you for letting me express all of my ideas out, because on the last one we did, I said they would, if they simply were able to detain or arrest the two young ladies who they hear on that boat, that prosecutor that we're looking at on the screen right now knows he would, everything that the young sister did on her on bringing up the voice analysis and everything, it would hold 100%, because one of those girls on the boat can verify, like, that was my voice. She doesn't even have to admit to what she said.
Right.
All she needs to do, all they need is one of those young ladies on that boat to verify, yes, I was there, and that is my voice.
Exactly.
And I'm talking about it's over.
That's it right there.
Yep.
Now let's hear what else he's saying.
The issue is, I don't know if she can go the
Where did it come
distance
from?
to say,
Okay, got it. She cannot testify as to whether MDMR had enhanced it or doctored it before it was released. But see, the problem is you would have to ask someone to believe a clerk or an official at the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources doctored this before they released it, to the extent that nobody could understand it until they enhanced it. That's a hell of a doctor job. Okay, so you did that. Then you got into the medical examiner findings. Okay, what was your theory on that? Very quickly.
If he's dead on the boat, how did he die? It should be conclusive. It shouldn't be inconclusive.
Hold on. Joining us right now, Joseph Scott Morgan, renowned death investigator, professor of forensics, Jacksonville State University, with a premier criminal pro department and building, author of Blood Beneath My Feet, star of a hit series, Body Bags with Joseph Scott Morgan, and it goes on. Significant, over 10,000 death scenes under his belt. Joe Scott, follow up. I'm not arguing with Burkhart's. Let's learn, if we can, from what he's saying. Jump.
Have you ever seen a product that transforms any ordinary space into
Queen? You did ask me some time ago on this cast here. You did ask me. You gave me the opportunity. You said, Rupert, what do you believe may have happened on the boat? Right. And I've seen all type of theories. I've thought about, he may have been trying to swim out to the boat. He may have caught the rope that was tying the boats together and tried to pull himself in once, so I can be safe amongst the deeper waters. And Bart may have took off with the boat and drug him in the water a little bit. And then they realized, did something of drunk fun. And I thought about that. I thought about him getting close to the boat and somebody tried to pull off. But the thing that kind of just fits the scenario, because you heard in the young lady, I forgot the sister's name we're speaking about now, in the audio she enhanced, you heard one of the young ladies say, is he dead? And the key word she said was now. Now.
Is he dead now?
Is he dead now? Like, whatever happened, dang, did that do it? I feel allegedly that getting out of the water onto a bigger boat surface, the bravado of the young men, knowing that what Warren said, we brung young ladies from our college down, impressive, being that there was altercations on this island that, hey, I'm gonna put it out there, that seemed to have undertones of young white gentlemen fighting black gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
Nolan being the personality that has, I believe that is the reason why Warren chose the words friend groups. Friend groups, because
Right.
Nolan does not have, he does not have Trayston spirit. He does
Right.
not have, he doesn't even have the friend Javon's type of spirit.
That's right.
But he,
That's right.
and Warren said, Nolan, he's always trying to get on the boat with us, meaning he played foot. He had friends that probably weren't in athletics that were black, and he
Mm-hmm.
had a ton of friends that were in athletics that were white, and he hung in the middle. And with the altercations happening on that island, with probably subtle racial tension, and Nolan getting back on that boat with an adult on the boat, Bart, I believe that Bart may have pushed him in a slippery manner. Nolan may have bashed the back of his head on one of those boat bars or something that was very hard.
Right. Now I was thinking that too, that maybe he fell some kind of way.
On that slippery boat surface.
Yes. And then
With a
hit his
push.
head on the side or the edge or something like that.
Yes, indeed.
I was thinking that.
While he tried to get onto the boat, and they were moving off, with the ladies in the atmosphere of the boat, people getting into confrontations, them not Bart being an adult that is older than these younger athletes just leaving high school going into the college world. Bart is a 21-year-old that's been in the college world that comes back and kind of is the big dog, you know. And I believe he may have on that boat, he may have pushed Nolan in a manner in front of the ladies that caused Nolan to bash his head. And now in something that would have been what can we say, like him sunning Nolan, when they get back, Nolan doesn't seem as tough or popular as the guy to the ladies that are in front of them, because Bart just checked him, kind of, quote unquote, Bart checked him, but that checking turned into an act that killed a person. Because they said check his chest, all these different things to try to see if a person is alive, and they said, is he dead now?
Exactly.
You know, and I believe that something happened in a violent manner on that boat, and I don't think allegedly, and that's why I said I think I'll put that on its own, but it just fits the script because the bruising in the back of a neck, when you push, somebody would fall that way. They would fall that way. And on a boat, you have bars and different things in those tight-knit areas that you can simply lodge the back of your head in when you fall, you know. And that wouldn't leave bruisings and everything, because you don't hear bruisings on the hand and different things like that. You don't see that, but how does that correlate with them taking the lungs and the neck? Is because the neck would show asphyxiation if it was a true drowning, and the lungs would show the water in it. So these are two things. And their whole thing was, and like I said, I'm going by things that were stated. Can we cover this up? Oh, I thought about that. This is letting you know, these are the words that you hear. This is letting you know that these people were immediately thinking of a cover-up.
Yeah, exactly. That's the first thing they thought of, right?
Nothing is too far-fetched. Yeah, you're dealing with smart people. Nothing is too far-fetched. When they seen when they seen he was dead there, you know, and what they say, I heard somebody say it had to do with his neck. Yes, the discoloration was found in the back of the neck, and that could have been from bruising of him hitting himself after a push on a slippery boat surface and not catching. Because I'm still, and I know that some people may laugh at me, but I believe all questions are good questions. I'm still trying to see, because I saw the video. Nolan had on a pants set and a shirt, and then he had on his shorts. and he had on some flip flops on the boating dock. Nobody has questioned who took. Y'all said y'all had his phone. Who had his clothes? You know,
Exactly.
who had his clothes?
Exactly.
Because
What boat was it on?
that's right. And him not having any shoes on and a slippery and coming out of the water onto the boat, if you pushed him, yeah, it's more common for him to slip back and hit his head on something.
Exactly. Okay, now listen. Hold on, beloveds. Let me read this. Irma says they got rid of organs and can't explain can't explain why. That's why they haven't released the autopsy. Just my opinion. Well, here's the thing. I absolutely believe that's the case. But someone said we forgot the throat. No, we didn't. We covered that this morning. We covered a whole lot. It was a 3-hour video. If you missed it, go back and watch. And also, if you don't have time to watch it, I cut it up in segments so you can watch that. We don't want to keep talking about stuff we already covered this morning because we talked about a whole lot. Okay, now with that all being said, Irma, thank you for your insight into the topic, beloved, and your contribution. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. The bottom line about the throat is I believe, or we decided this morning, we both said we believe that the throat was not sent because it would have shown that he didn't drown.
Exactly.
You see, the throat could show that he did drown or he didn't.
Because
and they wanted to.
If he would have drowned, the throat would have been asphyxiated. He would have been choked. He would have choked in some kind of manner. The asphyxiation, it would have. But the throat and the lungs were the only two pieces, the main two pieces that did not go to the second autopsy. And this person who did the second autopsy would have figured that out with ease.
Neither did they have any notes as to why they kept those parts, those body parts. They could have at least done that out of courtesy. Okay, let's hear what this guy is going to say, because last time he was on here, him and Nancy got into it.
Yeah, so whatever has been the causal factors here has got to marry up with what they were seeing at the scene, and perhaps the audio does fall into this, these statements. And I think that probably from a medical legal perspective, that is the coroner and the medical examiner are going to want to be able to fully appreciate what is being said here from a timeline. This is absent the police's investigation. They're going to try to rule in or rule out what they're seeing presenting on Nolan's remains when they finally did receive them at the state medical examiner's office and that examination began. And this is going to be critical and key, because the causal effects here are going to be critical. We go back to these changes that the second autopsy referred to on the back of the head. Now, the doctor was not able to, at that point in time, even though he did do a thorough, what's referred to as a layered dissection here, he could not establish the causal effects here because the injury or the insult that you see there, this presentation, is compromised by decomposition. So what did the state medical examiner see? My problem is here, Nancy, how was the body treated before or after the first autopsy and the body is transported up to DC? I have questions about this because they're talking about to the degree with which the body was decomposed. The doctor up in DC is seeing significant decomposition. We don't know what they saw in Mississippi, but I do know that you're only talking about what, and I'm ballparking here, please give me some grace, maybe 48 hours tops before the medical legal authorities have seen the body. So how far degraded is the body to compromise any of this? And this evidence is going to have to be borne out, not just with the physical findings that you see with the unaided eye, but also whatever's going on toxicologically.
I want you to take a careful look at this video we have obtained. Let's see it. Look how tightly everyone is packed in. There were hundreds of people out on Horn Island on July the 4th. What, nobody saw what happened to Nolan Wells? They all just left with him standing there stranded, waving his arms like Gilligan? That did not happen. Now that you're seeing this, what is an innocent explanation? I'm trying to figure that out. Joining me, and I'll circle back to you, Joe Scott, because I got a lot of questions regarding the way he could have died innocently and been left behind, and that sound being true. The sound that Janetta Brantley enhanced. Is there any innocent explanation? Is there a way, as my favorite judge often said, Luther Alverson, it is your duty to make all witnesses speak the truth and impugn perjury to no one. Is there a way that can be done? I don't know that it can.
I have been buying organic for 3 years.
May I mention something, Queen?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. And I want us to key in on how Nolan's body was found. It was found face down and it was floating in the waters. Okay, so it's floating on top. All right. Nolan was only Nolan, if his body had drowned, okay, bodies that drown typically take 3 to 5 days to float to the surface. Okay. 3 to 5 days. We're not dealing with that. Now, the only thing that changes that body, if that body went through some type of decomposition outside of the water into the heat, then you can speed up the process. Meaning, if Nolan's body was in the Gulf and drowned in the Gulf, and his body was there, in 3 to 5 days, his body would have probably resurfaced. But it didn't take that long. It took a day. Meaning that fits the theory, allegedly, of them taking the body out of the water and it decomposing in those conditions. And then that would speed up the process, meaning when they placed it back in the water, because of the body's decomposition outside of the water for the day, it would float face down now.
Yeah,
But
I think I covered all of that when I talked about aquatic decomposition, because for
That's
one,
correct.
the
I didn't
water
get to hear you on that one.
Yeah, the water would have been warm. I think I talked about that early on in this
Yes.
situation, but the water would have been warm is what I was explaining, because it was July and it was hot. So
right.
if it's warm water, it could take 1 to 5 days.
1 to
Okay,
5.
because 1 to 5, because depending on the water, like if it's moderate water, it could take 3 to 10. Okay, if it's
right.
cold water, it could literally take weeks.
That's
in
correct.
warm water, it could take 1 to 5, and that is once the decomposition gases start coming out. Once the gases start building, that's what's going to make it float. But here's the thing, though. I'm going to wrap this up because I don't want this video to be another 3 hours, because I have to come back tomorrow. But here's what I want to say. The body was not waterlogged. Okay, the body was not waterlogged. So with that all being said, it seems more likely than not that absolutely the body was placed there. Now, mind you, it could have been, he could have drowned and still not been waterlogged, but that's not usually the case. Most often, if someone drowns, they're absolutely going to be waterlogged. That's just a fact. So the fact that he wasn't already had me thinking weeks ago that he likely didn't drown. And we said early on that somebody likely placed him there, in our opinion. Because just of the circumstances, right? And how also what made me suspicious is, like I told you, when the Cajun Navy said that they saw 2 boats close together, and I thought that was suspicious because I don't know, it's something in my intuition told me that was something suspicious. He said he looked down, he saw the 2 boats really close together, side by side, and then the body was laying there. Okay, and the fact that Nolan was found on the shoreline definitely makes me feel that he was placed there strategically.
Yes.
Like we said earlier.
We said it. Oh, that was key. And I can't thank you enough for letting me express that, because everything that we stated on that one, I can't change. They have to prove that one to me. They would have to do. No, somebody placed that body back out there.
Yeah, I absolutely believe that.
Yeah, that's what I believe.
Absolutely believe that. That's what makes sense to me. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to a few more minutes of Nancy, and then we're out of here, because I have to do a TikTok, and I want to get on. I might go on a TikTok live or something like that. But also, I got to be back in the morning. Okay, so let's finish listening to a few more minutes of this. We might listen to some more of it tomorrow.
Seems to me that someone is lying. But who? Joining me now, Teslin Figaro, social justice, political commentator, host of the Teslin Figaro podcast. Ms. Figaro, thank you for being with us. I'd like to hear your thoughts.
Yeah. Well, that's what the family is saying. They don't believe he died by accident. That's the point. That's the reason why Nolan Wells' mom is saying, I don't believe this. I don't believe he died by accident before we had the audio. The audio simply confirms that there are additional questions that needs to be asked. It wasn't just one thing they said in the audio. They said Nolan repeatedly in the audio. They said check his chest in the audio. They said, is he dead in the audio? And also notice this, Nancy. Did you notice that the operator also said, is anybody breathing? Who said?
Thank you. Didn't I tell you all that sounded crazy? She
That
said,
did.
is everybody, she said, is everybody in good health and is anybody breathing? And I told you all the reason she said that is because she heard that stuff in the background.
Yes.
She heard them say, check his chest. Wake the F up. No, wake the F up. Is he breathing? She heard all of that.
Yep.
She heard all of that. That's why she started asking those questions, because before we got the audio, I pointed out what the dispatcher was saying. And I'm like, that doesn't sound like something a person would say in a normal instance. Why is she talking like that? But when the audio came out, I told him, that's why she was saying those things. She literally heard what they were saying in the background clearly when she picked up that phone. While she was talking to him, remember, they were still saying stuff. And then when Wyatt started to notice that she could hear them, and he may have picked up that she could hear them by the way she was asking those questions. So he started muting the audio, or he started muting the phone. He would say whatever he had to say, then he would mute it. You understand what I'm saying? So let's go back to Tesla. This is all so juicy. We got to figure this all out.
What is that? What operator says who all is breathing on the boat? So is this all the audio, Nancy? Is there more audio? That's my question.
I want to look specifically, Teslin, at what was said. At one point, we think you killed him. He's already dead. He's already dead.
Wow.
Is he dead? Yeah. Nolan, OMG, wake up.
Yeah.
And as Janetta stated, then she hears a completely different name, Bart. Now, we also hear, and I'm very curious, the phrase, no. Teslin Figaro, was that a nickname of Nolan Wells?
I cannot confirm if that's a nickname of his or not. But what I do know is we heard Nolan. What I do know is we heard check his chest. What I do know is that we said, is he dead? What we do know is we heard screams. There's folks out there suggesting that perhaps they were talking to a seagull, or perhaps talking to some random bird that was flying around this.
Oh, she's a mess.
These people are so crazy. Yes, because they did say some crazy stuff. Somebody tried to say that when they said, is he dead, that they were talking about the boat. What?
Yeah.
They think we're crazy.
Because an organic mistake happened.
Exactly.
It was what so you weren't supposed to see. Yes, it was obvious. And notice, it doesn't take, you guys, it doesn't take much. All it takes is one organic mistake, and I'm telling you, that can be it. That's all it takes.
Exactly. Oh, somebody said Officer Tatum said that. He's such a nut. Okay, but let's continue because I want to hear what Tesla has to say.
No. There were folks out there that suggested, well, maybe they were talking about the boat. Come on, we got to knock this off, Nancy. We heard what we heard. Yep. And so we would have put this before a jury.
Also, we hear, damn it, Bart, No-No's really dead. Damn it, Bart, No-No's really dead. Repeating it over and over and over. According to reports, his nickname, one of them, is No-No. Back to Teslin Figaro. What is Nolan's mother's theory about what happened in light of these tapes?
Before we even had the tapes, her theory is, I told my son, I've raised my son just like I've raised my 19-year-old the same way, Nancy, like I'm sure you raise your children. Come back with the people you went with. Her theory has always been that he is a fantastic swimmer, that he is an athlete. Her theory has always been that he did not drown. Her theory has always been that there's something wrong with this picture. Her theory has always been that the fact that, you know, he left his phone and left his keys. Her theory has also always been that he did not just go off with some random stranger and say, guys, don't worry about it, just leave me on an island. Her theory is the same thing before this audio. This audio only confirms what this mother already knew.
Powerful.
Okay, so I'm going to leave it right there. I'm going to leave it right there. We may listen to some more tomorrow, but I got to get out of here because I got 1,000 things to do and y'all just don't even know. Plus, I have to be back in the morning with more receipts or else. Be back in the morning with more receipts or else. Okay, I'm toast. Okay, so listen. This is good. We're finding out a lot of things. Okay, so we got a little bit more insight from that report that was released by the Cajun Navy. But when Tesla asked, is there more audio? That makes me wonder, is there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If there's not the audio, there is the missing time logs of the calls that came in to Captain Seven.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
And my last thing is for the people to press the people to release. They showed you the video recordings of them leaving the dock. Where is the ones of them returning?
Right. Hold on. Let me say this. Okay, we're about to conclude the broadcast. Listen, I see people arguing in the chat. Okay, Lieutenant Maxwell, please don't argue with Pensy Lola. Okay, everyone's entitled to their opinion, whether other people agree with it or not. Yeah. That's how it goes on this channel. We can agree respectfully to disagree. Nobody needs to be going in on anyone about someone's comments, their thoughts and views, because we don't all have to agree. Now, if people are arguing in the chat, I'm going to start putting you all in time out because that's distracting. It's distracting to me when I'm looking at the comments to try to read people's, looking at the chat to try to read people's comments. It's distracting to other people who are trying to pay attention. So please be respectful and let us not argue in the chat. Okay? Lieutenant Maxwell said, really? Wow, I'm a troublemaker? At least now, no, you may be crazy and maybe a fool. So sad. Lieutenant Maxwell, don't say that to Pensy Lola. What is going on here? Can we stop the arguing, please, sir? Okay? I don't know who's the troublemaker, but clearly y'all are arguing, and I don't know why. But you guys need to stop. We're all adults. Okay? Everybody can have their own opinions, like I said. Okay, so Resurgence Kendall said Nancy's misleading. She's going in circles. She may be. I haven't watched her in a few days, but at the end of the day, Pensy Lola, you're still talking to him too, beloved, when you respond. Now, if you don't want to argue and someone is saying something, can you just ignore them? We don't always have to respond to people. I don't even give people energy. There has been 2 or 3 trolls that I blocked while this live has been going on, and none of you knew that I blocked them because I didn't say anything. I just blocked them. Okay, I just blocked them. Now, with that all being said, like I said, tomorrow y'all gonna be in timeout. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. Anybody arguing in chat tomorrow, you're going straight to timeout. And I don't know how long I put you there. It could be 3 minutes. It could be for 24 hours. Okay, that's how serious I am. We're not gonna be in here arguing. Everybody is entitled to their opinion. Period. Okay, period. And you don't have to respond to people. If someone says something you don't like, why don't you just ignore them? Because sometimes people pick arguments just to get your attention. And if you don't want to be involved, just say no. Okay? Reggie said he'll be 60 August the 30th. All right, Reggie. I'm glad you told me, beloved. I'll have to make you one of my spiritual books or something. Okay, one of my spiritual not a whole book for any of you that don't know what I'm talking about, but you all remember those books I would give you all for those that were members of the spiritual channel? Yeah, I might have to do you one of those, okay, for your birthday. Lieutenant Maxwell says, I'm sorry, Queen. You're going to be real sorry tomorrow, beloved. I'll accept your apology. Okay, I'll accept your apology. But if you're in here going in tomorrow, you're going to find yourself in time out, beloved, okay? Now, listen, also, I'm going to apologize to Bungani because I did go off on him this morning, but I get triggered when somebody's talking about any of my friends. So I was a little harsh on him. So I'm going to apologize to Bungani. Okay. But with that all being said, I actually sent him a message on his Instagram. But anywho, with that all being said, Barbara says, thank you, President Queen and Vice President Rupert, for the podcast.
Wow. Hey,
we appreciate you both.
No. Before she said,
you.
I thank all thanks to the Queen for allowing me on her platform. I always gonna show respect to the platform that's been putting on the work. I'm just a guest, but I really appreciate you guys listening and allowing me to speak.
Okay. All right. So that all being said, let's get ready to get out of here. And listen, everyone, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your night. Rupert, thank you for tuning in again.
Thank you again, Queen. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Now, listen, tomorrow, you all better tune in because I have a surprise. So I'm not going to tell y'all what it is. Now, the lounge knows what it is because I already told her, but the rest of you don't know. And if you want to find out, tune in tomorrow at 3 p.m., okay? Tune in tomorrow at 3 p.m. because I promise you it's going to be worth your while. But mind you, I am going to be on live in the morning. I'm going to be on in the morning, and then tomorrow at 3 o'clock, okay, I'm going to have something, a surprise for you all. All right? And you don't want to miss it, is all I'll say. Now, with that being said, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. And until next time, I will talk to you all again soon. Peace.
Yeah. For Nolan Xavier Wells. 18 years old, gone too soon. Mississippi, y'all got some explaining to do. Mississippi, need to release that report. Low down, dirty ass Mississippi. What you hiding? Why you not talking? Why the hell you not saying a damn thing? Talk. I pray the family get real answers. And no, we the people won't go away. Never, hell no, not today. Mississippi, the Most High gonna really deal with you. July 4th lights, boat ride with the crew. Young King Nolan chasing dreams, Ocean Springs through and through. Horn Island called his name, he relaxing in the blue. 2 days later found on the sand. What happened to you? Independent autopsy dropped, but it's undetermined. Red mark on the back of the head, neck structures missing. Absurd. State sitting quiet, toxicology on the shelf. Family screaming for truth, but y'all protecting yourself. Nolan was a star athlete with a future bright. Now his mama crying every single night. Boating trip turned nightmare. Questions in the air. Who was on that island? Why the silence there? Mississippi, need to release that report. Low down, dirty ass Mississippi. What you hide? Why you not talking? Why the hell you not saying a damn thing? Talk. I pray the family get real answers. And no, we the people won't go away. Never, hell no, not today. Mississippi, the Most High gonna really deal with you. Grand jury waiting, but the people still fighting. No severe trauma, they say, but the story don't add up clean. Ways whispering secrets, covering up the scheme. Oh, young black man gone, another one in the South. History repeating, time to open your mouth. What you hiding in them files? Why the delay? Transparency dying, why the family pray? Nolan's light was shining, future snatched away. Now the whole world watching what Mississippi say. We marching, we posting, we demanding justice loud for every mother losing sons behind that murky cloud. Oh. I pray the family get real answers. No more games, no more lies. No more games, no more lies. Nolan deserved better. The truth never dies. From the island to the courtroom, we standing tall. Mississippi, your reckoning gon' come. One and all, one and all. Mississippi, Mississippi, need to release that report. Release it now, release it now, release it now. Need to release that report. Mississippi, what you hiding? Why you not talking? Why the hell you not saying a damn thing? I pray the family get a real answer. No, we the people won't go away. Never. Hell no, not today, not today. Mississippi, most high, gonna really deal with you. But Nolan,